Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is 9 o'clock on Friday on this beautiful July morning, and I am bringing information and resources to you as part of Friday Friends. For those of you who might just be joining for the very first time, I am Deb Burton, the host of Friday Friends and Executive Director of RI Elder Info. RI Elder Info maintains comprehensive resources for older adults, caregivers, and the professionals who serve them. And we are more than happy to come out to your organization or faith-based community and share information in person, as well as bringing you information and resources every week online. So in order to get the word out, hit the like button, the share button, the bell button, all those social media cues that say, hey, you got to check this out, because every week we're doing something really cool. Now, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and you know what that means. We could not bring you Friday Friends without the support of our sponsors. So big shout out to Point 32 Health, United Health, Oak Street Health, 321 Media, England Studio, and our Friday Friends specific sponsors, Washington Trust and McCarthy Law. Here's a quick message from McCarthy Law.
Here at McCarthy Law, we practice in the areas of estate planning, long-term care planning, elder care law, and residential real estate. Our focus is really on providing peace of mind to our clients.
If you're interested in scheduling a consultation with our office, you can feel free to reach out to us at 401-541-5540. You can also reach out via website at www.mccarthylawri.com. You also should check out our social media, both on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, for some helpful tips and tricks.
Samantha is a really cool person, and her office is right in East Greenwich if you need to go see her. So this week, I thought I was going to mix it up a little bit and talk to the wizard behind the curtain of RI Elder Info, as we have just cleared, I believe, a little over 200 episodes of Friday Friends. So welcome, Ben.
Hey, Deb. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Ben?
Good. I feel weird being on the... Hold on. I'm going to switch. You're the host. You need to be on that side of the camera. Hello. Thanks for having me. Not that you have much of a choice. I'm here always, but...
Yes. So you are here always. And it has been... Let's see. Friday Friends started in July of 2020. We met in August of 2020. So you've been here.
We met in like June, I think. But,
really? Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. And I had the crazy idea initially that I could do all the magic backstage and host. Yeah, I was crazy.
Yes.
So as somebody who has followed on this journey, been side by side behind the camera, what kinds of things have you learned in producing Friday Friends?
Before we do that, Deb.
Oh.
Before we do that, I think that we should probably take a look back at Friday Friends.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right, here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Deb from RI Elder Info. I am going to be speaking with Bill today as part of our Friday Friends series. This is our third episode. I'm very excited to have a friend of mine, Denise Lowell, on.
The reason we started this nonprofit organization called Just Ask, Aphasia, Stroke, and Knowledge, due to a stroke that I had almost 5 years ago.
Such a great program. I think that everyone can get involved in.
Mañana y yo soy Deb Burton, así que ya saben, yo estoy aquí para patrocinar Friday Friends.
Oh, you caught me by surprise, Ben, and you left me a little choked up. Oh my God, that was awesome.
Deb, you asked me to put that together 30 minutes ago.
But I wasn't thinking that you would be able to do it that fast. Oh my God,
You
that was
okay?
awesome. Yes. Yeah.
Are you crying, Deb?
Maybe. On live camera too, and I have no tissues.
That's all right. Do you want to go get a tissue for a second, and
Oh my goodness, hold on.
I'll cover?
Oh my God, that was so fun. You definitely surprised me because I just sent that message as I was driving into the office with no expectation that you would be able to do that. Oh my God.
Literally got that message 30 minutes ago. And downloaded what I could, tried to remember some highlights and some spots and some, there's definitely that's not everything, right? It's hard to distill 204 episodes of Friday Friends, and I think like a dozen specials that we've done, whether it be Calling All Women Warriors, Calling All Veterans Day, the senior resource fairs, the hoarding event, that sounds like we had an event for hoarding. It was a seminar on for caregivers and professionals on hoarding, for just a number of things. The 39 cities and towns COVID-19 vaccine information tour that we did, where we talked to all 39 cities and towns municipal leaders on how you could receive the vaccine. We did that right at the beginning of 2021. And if you look at that clip, so you asked me what I've learned. If you look at the clip from 2021, I included the Providence vaccine clinic episode that we did, and I'm in it for all of those. You and I are talking to or are interviewing all of the municipal leaders around Rhode Island. I look miserable in that, and it's not that I was miserable or wanted to get the right. Both of my parents had just died, from COVID a month before. My mom missed getting the vaccine at the nursing home by 4 days, something like that, before getting COVID, going into the hospital and passing away. So what have I learned from Friday Friends? What have I learned from producing shows for RI Elder Info for this is the 5th year that we're going into. It's funny. I said to you in 2020, and it's very funny now that it's 5 years later. I said to you in 2020, Deb, I wish that I met you 5 years ago, because when I met you, when we did our first show, the first Calling All Veterans Day was in August of 2020. And you see the, well, something that I noticed when you look back on the first episodes of Friday Friends, and this is how I know that we knew each other. The first episodes of Friday Friends are still on StreamYard. You're still using StreamYard for those, because I showed you how to do it.
Yes, you did. Yes.
I showed you how to do it because you were like, can you just show me how to do this? And I did. And then about 3 weeks later, you were like, hey, I can't do this. And I was like, I got you. But I said to you, August. So the first Calling All Veterans Day was August 6th. Or August 5th, one or the other, 2020. On August 6th, my dad went from the nursing home to the hospital, and on August 9th, he passed away. They had some medical issues at the beginning of 2020 before the pandemic. that landed them in the nursing home. They probably could have, my dad at least, maybe could have come home, but when he was set to be released, it was late April, full lockdown, and the decision was made that it would be safer for him to stay there. I have thoughts on that regardless. Um, but
We didn't know what we didn't know at the time.
exactly,
And we made the decisions based on what we had, and we have to give ourselves grace on that.
absolutely. But it's not something I dwell on. But that being said, you know, the premise of Friday Friends is that every week you talk to a new, mostly nonprofit, that helps in some field of aging and elder care for seniors, caregivers, or professionals, right? So we have had, obviously, we have wonderful elder care attorneys on, like McCarthy Law, and you know, we've had people that are able to say things like, you need to put your house into a trust or put it in your child's name over 5 years before you expect to possibly need to be in a long-term care facility. Or when you go into a long-term care facility, they're going to take that back. They're going, the Medicaid in long-term care facilities isn't free. There's like a charge on it against your estate, and then after you die, they go, show me the money. Those are things that caused me so much pain and heartache and time after my parents died that I didn't know because I didn't have the information, right? So like there was a possibility that they could have come home. There were possibilities that like there were so many other options for my parents. There were so many options. I mean, she passed away in 2011, but my grandmother lived with me growing up, and she had an accident in the early 90s and was shut in. And there are so many more things that she could have had access to and availability of, and rides, and help, and just all of these things, right? Like, it took forever for us to put a because we had to come up with the money ourselves for this stuff, to put a ramp on our house for my grandmother, who had broken her hip at age 80 something in the early 90s, and we didn't get a ramp on the house until 2001, 7 years or whatever, because my parents had to save up the money for it, right? And like there are so many things. Like every single week we've talked to, obviously, we talk to the Alzheimer's Association a lot. We talk to all of the things. My mom ended up developing dementia with Lewy bodies, Lewy body dementia. That is the information that I've learned from that. Like, my dad was a stroke victim back in 2004. Luckily, he didn't develop aphasia, but there's a lot of things that I've learned from the conversations that you've had with Denise and Just Ask on here. Like, there's every episode is a wealth of knowledge. Every guest is a universe unto itself that is desperately needed. And when we take like the month of June to talk about elder abuse in every episode, that is something that thousands of Rhode Islanders are dealing with, that don't know how to do anything about it or to figure it out, or they know somebody who's dealing with it. When you take November or whatever it may be, and you dedicate all of it to veterans, like there are so many other. My grandmother, like I said, who died in 2011, was there's a clip in there where you're talking to it's where you're talking and calling all Veterans Day. The audio isn't in the video, but you were talking about how, an insane number of women in their 90s, this is 4 years ago, 3 years ago, an insane number of women in their 90s were in fact, it's more probable than not that they are a widow of a World War II veteran. And that means that they have access to certain things that have been provided to them, certain resources that have been provided to them by the government that they don't even know about because nobody tells them that so that is what RI Elder Info is. RI Elder Info is a resource that shares other resources.
I like the way you say that, and it is true about the individuals in their 90s, because society at that time, everybody served, or your spouse was, and that's not being gender biased. It was just what was societal's norms back then. And we do have Calling All Veterans, our 5th Calling All Veterans Day coming up on August 17th. It's going to be at the CB Museum Park. It's going to be awesome. And that's a good opportunity for folks to be able to come get more information if they are a veteran looking for benefits, if they're a spouse of a veteran looking for benefits. But the other thing that I hope to be able to do is many of those who served are caregivers, and the people that they're caring for may not be related to any kind of service-connected benefits. They may be civilians. And if RI Elder Info can help make that caregiving task easier, then I want to make sure we do that. I want to make sure we do that for all of the caregivers out there. As the man behind the curtain, it's interesting to see your perspective, because I don't think a lot of people ever really see you.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people see me in other places all the time, right? So, I mean, anybody who's watching this on the 321 pages is like, we never see Ben. Okay, we're all, as a community, we're sick of Ben.
Can never be sick of Ben.
What do you, so as the person that dedicates all of her time in life to helping others and to making sure that as many people know about the benefits and resources as possible, what have you learned yourself in the last 4 years of Friday Friends?
I've learned that there's a lot of really good people out there who are doing some really cool things to support one another, and getting them connected is super important. And there's not necessarily a mechanism otherwise to do that. I've learned that there are folks out there who have some really creative ideas on how to solve for social isolation and loneliness, how to help people. And their voices are not always as amplified as I think they could be, because every single one of us is getting older every day. Like, we can't escape that. And so the work that RI Elder Info does, the information on aging that I'm passionate about, those are things that are going to impact all of us, regardless of socioeconomic status, regardless of race, language, all of those things. And so if we can amplify other organizations, if we can amplify the work that's being done to say, hey, this is a small nonprofit, they're doing some really cool stuff, people need to know about it, we need grant funders to know about it, then it makes me be able to sleep easier at night, knowing that we've done the best we can to help as many people as we can. That being said, another really practical thing, running a nonprofit takes a lot of work, business work, a lot of time. So always looking for volunteers, always looking for donors, for sponsors, for people who can open doors. sometimes I think that comes when
Physically or metaphorically? I'm kidding.
I actually have an office in a handicapped accessible building. So you can hit a button and the door will open.
Perfect.
And these things are like deliberately thought out because sometimes you have mobility impairments when you're younger and older. We see a lot of talk in the media right now about what does it mean to be someone in their 70s, 80s, 90s, hundreds, and what are you capable and not capable of. And I think we all see on TV versions of people we know in real life. And it gives us more pause to think about those people when we see everything that's going on in the news these days. But the good news is we're all in this together.
Absolutely. As
Yeah.
Zac Efron once sang. I'm sorry. No one who watches this show will get that reference. Nor should they. Nor should I. But I'm a ridiculous person. I'm so sorry. I don't know why you let me on this thing.
Because you're fun and you're honest.
So, okay. Enough about me.
And 200 episodes, for heaven's sakes. 200.
Listen, I haven't been here for all of them, okay?
You've been here for almost all of them, yes.
I've farmed you out to Dave and Ashley and Eve and the rest of the crew. Several times I've produced some stuff on my phone. Sometimes you tell me that we have a recording 5 minutes before we have a recording.
Oops.
But
see, folks watching, sometimes it really does work like that. Oopsie.
Yeah.
Anyway. I am human.
Anyway, yeah, she is, but a wonderful human. So one of the things like that I think about when I think about RI Elder Info is the why. And so, Deb, my question for you is why? Why does RI Elder Info exist? What made you start this nonprofit? What keeps you going, putting in 5,000 hours a week? Yeah. What's up?
It's funny. I just gave a presentation yesterday to some caseworkers, and that's one of the things that I often forget to talk about when I'm giving presentations. So RI Elder Info launched on October 19th of 2018. And it came about because I had been doing private elder care consulting and care management, and that's great. But you have to gatekeep information from people who are in crisis to ensure that they're able to pay you a consulting fee. And that doesn't feel good on my heart. So I got a lot of information together and had a website built. And within 2 weeks of its launch, we were at a mental health summit, and a doctor stood up at the mental health summit and said, we don't have anywhere that we can refer our patients to that we can trust isn't trying to sell them something.
Yeah.
And in that summit, it was new. There was like a live chat, which is a new feature at that time. And so I put in the chat, rielderinfo.com just launched. And in post review of the event, they said RI Elder Info solved that because we're not telling you need the world's best widget because the world's best widget company, supports us. And that's part of our credibility. And it's after that, we started winning awards. COVID happened. Actually, we started winning awards. We got our nonprofit status, the 501c3, in the summer of 2019. COVID happened in 2020, and we really thought going into 2020, that was going to be our big funding year because, we're a new nonprofit. I closed down my consulting company, focused 100% on RI Elder Info. We were planning on having Calling All Veterans Day at the URI Ryan Center for, I think it was May 9th of 2020. We had sponsors, we had donors. I had 100 different resource providers ready to rock. I'm like down to picking out what color tablecloth. And March, Friday the 13th of 2020 happened, and the world shut down for COVID. And
Wait,
at that
what happened?
Friday, March 13th, 2020, it was a Friday. It was Friday
Yeah.
the 13th. They said, as of Monday, everything shut down for 2 weeks. We're going to squash the curve.
What?
Yes, that whole COVID thing. Imagine.
Did this make the news or
You know, maybe we heard something about COVID.
haven't heard about it?
And so on that Monday, like, we're telling our older adults, stay home. Don't go to the senior centers. Don't go to the grocery store. Don't associate with your family. Like, don't do anything. So I nerd out about all these things. I called all 39 cities and towns and said, how are our older adults supposed to get food? And at that time, I had a newsletter list of like maybe 500 people. And I started pushing out information as fast as I could on that newsletter list to let people know, here's where there's food. Here's somebody who can deliver food. Here are the different resources. This is what's happening. At the same time, I'm saying, oh my God, I planned a huge event. I have sponsors. What on earth am I going to do? And I was blessed. Raytheon was one of our big sponsors. They said, keep the money, do it virtual. And like in early 2020, doing stuff virtual was new. I happened to be a regular participant in the Long-Term Care Coordinating Council, and I saw then Lieutenant Governor McKee was doing a lot of streaming. And so I reached out to Dan and said, how do you do that? And he's like, oh, Ben does that. You can borrow Ben. I was like, oh, okay. But see, refer back, we're a little nonprofit. Didn't really have the resources initially to work with Ben. So I said, I have to practice this whole live streaming thing. And so I started Friday Friends to see if it would work. I was struggling. I saw the amazing work that you volunteered to do for calling All Veterans Day. And I said, yeah, that's just hitting the easy button. We got to make this happen. And so we've lived happily ever after.
To be fair, it's not like I was expensive.
No, my goodness, no. I'm saying like we had just got our 501c3. We didn't have a lot of money.
All right. Ready? Now we're getting into the hard questions.
Ooh.
Favorite guest?
Oh my goodness, that's really hard to say because there's been so many. How about Ben?
Cop out. Least favorite guest?
The individual who, it's kind of a tie.
Oh my God, you're actually going to answer this question. Go ahead.
There was an individual who had a whole lot of background noise that did not stop the entire time. And because I have headphones in, it made it really, really challenging.
Most unique challenge of what's been the biggest challenge for Friday Friends?
Having it always scheduled at 9 a.m. There was a particular episode that, because we go live at 9 a.m., I happened to be under the weather for that episode. And there really wasn't an alternative. And sorry, I hot mic'd you when I was not well. That was an interesting show. And then come to find out, my guest was also unwell.
It wasn't live. It wasn't live at the time. Like it was like 5 minutes before it started.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So that was quite the interesting time. It's funny watching the video clips. My hair does like a lot of weird stuff, and I battle the curls. I was like, wow, my hair's kind of a hot mess.
Listen, I could have, if you had given me a week to put that video together, I could have added like a little clip from 200 different episodes, and you would be like, "Oh my god, I look very different every day." But yeah, remember so we've done a lot of like other extracurricular stuff outside of Friday Friends. But do you remember the series for Fitness Fridays for Christchurch Westerly? And you were a guest every 6 weeks, but we recorded them all together. So there were 6 guests every 6 weeks. So every 6 weeks was Healthy Aging with Deb Burton
Yes.
as a part of Friday Friends. And you were obsessed with changing your shirt for every episode. Like we recorded them, they're like 5-minute episodes, 5 to 10-minute episodes, right? And
Yes.
they air 6 weeks apart. And you were like, I need a different shirt. We need to pause for 4 minutes between each episode so I can go change my shirt, because God forbid somebody 6 weeks from now thinks that I'm wearing the same clothes that I was 6 weeks ago.
Yes, because people notice things, and if they watch regularly, they're gonna be like, "Oh, poor Deb, she only has one shirt."
I don't know if anybody watching this has ever seen me in anything other than a black t-shirt.
Yeah, but see, it's different for you. Like producers wear dark
gimmick.
clothes. That's what happens in theater.
It's a gimmick.
Yeah.
I know it's gotten to the point where if I literally put on anything else, people are like, "You look nice today." I could have a blue shirt on. I have a pink salmon colored shirt, right? I put on anything. That color looks nice on you. Oh, thanks. Literally just because you've never seen me in anything other than black, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm Jackie and I recently moved in together, right? And like all of my clothes in the closet and stuff. I'm like, I'm a cartoon character. I'm like you might be a little old for this, but like,
Oh, thanks.
in the TV show Doug in the 90s. Did you watch the television show Doug in the 90s on Nickelodeon?
I actually did, because I watched it with my daughter, Doug Funny.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Well, when he opens up his closet in that show, it's all tan shorts, white shirt, and green sweater vest, but there's like 50 of them. And I'm like, that's it. I have a dresser in my office because the house is weird and our bed is too big for the bedroom. Anyway, but like you open up, like it confuses me. I open up a drawer and I'm like, those are all black shirts, but I don't know which ones are which. Open the next one. Those are all black pants, but I don't know which one's which. Those are all black shorts, but I don't know which ones. Literally, I'm like, I don't know. I personally have to go through to go like, I like this shirt, right? But completely the same thing as everything. I'm a cartoon character.
Hey, but here's a little fun fact for everybody watching. If you have a loved one who has dementia that struggles to get dressed and stay independent as they get dressed, if you put a limited number of outfits on the hangers, it's actually helpful. So see, Ben, you're ahead of yourself.
There you go. I'm ready for the future. I mean, I know so many things that I didn't know, right? Like
Healthcare power of attorney.
Yeah, speaking of dementia, the and Alzheimer's, the bookshelf theory, right? Of the thing that stuff is fascinating to me. Like there's an endless amount of gerontological is that a word? No.
It is. You said it right too.
Gerontological knowledge that I just have in my brain now. That I have almost no use for other than these conversations. But and you know, I constantly am telling the older people in my life, like, hey, you're 75. You should maybe think about this just because you're in good health now. But if you fall or something, or you develop something, and when you're 80, you have to go into a nursing home, like, or you want that as an option, like,
Plan ahead.
you paid off your house. Why risk that? Why risk that? Why risk these assets for your kids? Like, and it's interesting because I'm just like, listen, I have no skin in the game for you, right? Like, you're not my family. I'm not getting your house. Like, I'm not doing that. All those ships have sailed for me. All right. I went through probate. I sold that
House.
ish. Yeah. I'm like, I did all of that, I said ship has sailed, by the way, just to be clear, just if I didn't
That's
enunciate
it.
well
Yes.
enough.
Yes.
Okay. So, but it's nice to be able to be like, have you talked to a lawyer?
Right. And the thing
Like-
is, you're young to have experienced everything that you have experienced. A lot of times people are becoming caregivers and thinking about, what's happening for their parents and grandparents when they're in their 50s, or in some cases in their 60s, because in Rhode Island, we have a lot of folks who are in their 90s and 100s. So the kids can be in their 60s. You've had this experience much younger than most people. And I think that kind of makes it an opportunity for you to educate your friends as they go through it, even though this was not something that you ever wanted to have had experienced at this age. That's for darn sure.
Oh my God. Somebody did something positive in regards to an aging parent the other day. And they said, thanks for being the orphan that made me realize this was important. And I was like, thanks. I don't know. I'm like, I'm closer to 40 than I am 30 at this point. I don't know that that I'd be considered that, but thanks. That made me feel great.
Might not have been the nicest thing to say, but the reality is, like,
She's a lovely person.
Oh yeah, but the funny thing is, like, I talk to people who are in their 90s and 100s who still miss their mom and dad.
Oh, you're always going
So-
to, yeah.
Like, you're once they're gone, yeah, you're an orphan. I too am an orphan, and it's like, one of those things that it is quite an experience. And if our experience is something that can save someone pain or struggle, then why not? Share it.
There was
And
a cat in
help
my
them get-
window for the whole time, and I didn't realize it.
Oh my.
Cat just jumped out from this window and scared the life out of me. I'm so sorry. She literally just jumped out of this window right here. She just jumped out and hit my foot, and I was like, what is happening?
Oh my goodness, Ben.
The first time that I've ever been on the show with a pet.
There you go.
So,
See,
all right,
you've been on the show with a child.
Deb, you've probably not my child.
No, but your fun
Clarify.
buddy. Yes.
Just to clarify.
Yes.
Oh God, has he actually made an appearance on the show? I'm sure he has. He's made an appearance on everything. The governor knows him by name.
Yes, we all know him. He's a star.
Oh God,
It's your protege.
Too much. I know.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me how hard producing shows were the other day, and I was like, well, my nephew's been doing it since he was 4. Literally used to be like, can I produce church today? And I'd be like, all right, kid. Like, I'll sit here and play a video game while you produce. It was to be fair, it was a 10-minute service where no cameras had to be changed. Nothing had to go up except for 3 little things, but he wanted to do it, and I was like, yeah, sure.
You're a 4-year-old. You do the work while Uncle does video games. Yeah. I don't know if anybody's watching for child labor there.
They're not. And also, it's fine. The family laws are different, I think, right? I don't know. Right? Like, if you're
Yes.
if it's family, if it's a family business, I think it's fine.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Listen,
Oh
it
my
was a
goodness.
literal 7-minute service, okay? And if I have to say it again, the time will go down further. No, he loves it. This year he his future stepfather was on had to go somewhere with his mom, and so I was watching him, and we were producing a lacrosse game, and he was like, I want to produce the lacrosse game. So he sat and produced the majority of the game, and like the scoreboard and the timekeeping and the graphics and the commercials and all of that stuff. He's 9 now. Like, when I say that like a monkey could do my job, I mean if they're as intelligent as a 4-year-old child, yes, they could. So don't give me too much credit, Deb. But that's yeah. So
Oh my goodness, my
anyway,
friend.
you wanna watch the video one more time?
Yeah.
And I'll say goodbye. I'll say goodbye now. We'll watch the video one more time, then you can end it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. And the reason that I'm saying that is because there's no way to get rid of the overlays on screen right now and not be awkward. So I'm just going to play this video one more time because we have more people watching now. So here's a recap of some of the highlights of the last 4 years of Friday Friends.
And I'll try not to cry this time.
And Deb Burton. Thanks, guys.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Deb from RI Elder Info. I am going to be speaking with Bill today as part of our Friday Friends series. This is our 3rd episode. I'm very excited to have a friend of mine, Denise Lowell, on.
The reason we started this nonprofit organization called Just Ask, Aphasia, Stroke, and Knowledge, due to a stroke that I had almost 5 years ago.
Such a great program. I think that everyone can get involved in.
Mañana y yo soy Ben Barber, así que ya saben, yo estoy aquí para patrocinar Friday Friends.
Oh my goodness, the styles and things going on with my hair. I just think that's so funny. I have had truly amazing guests over these last years, 204 episodes. It blows me away, the generosity of people's time and the amount of really cool stuff that is taking place out there, the resources that are available out there that really can help older adults and their caregivers and the professionals who serve them get the information that they need. We are all in this together, folks. We got to row the boat in the same direction. It is imperative for all of us because, God willing, we are all going to become older adults one day at a time. And I am so glad that you, my viewers, have joined me on this journey throughout the years. It has been wonderful fun to get you this information and to encounter the sometimes odd experience of having someone walk up to me out in public and say, "Hey, you're Deb." And I'm like, yes, I am Deb. And then think, oh gosh, did I forget somebody's name? So please share your name when you come up and say, "Hey, you're Deb." Because, I don't want to be a jerk, but sometimes I do forget people's names. But it could be that you've seen me here. So, folks, we are a nonprofit organization. We do this with passion and love and the support of our sponsors and donors. And there's a lot more that we could be doing with more sponsors and donors. There's a lot more in the community that we would like to do and share. So if you're interested in maybe volunteering or helping coordinate programs or events, let me know. If you have an interest in being a board member, also reach out. The number has been scrolling across the screen. You all know where to find me every week, right here on social media. I am so grateful for everyone who joins us every week. It has been a fabulous journey that is going to continue. I look forward to seeing all of you and your friends next week. In the meantime, be well and be kind.
If you liked this video, please follow us on social media and subscribe on YouTube. For more information, visit rielderinfo.com or call 401-585-0509. If you have any questions, email deb@rielderinfo.com.